This is a story for people who follow their dreams and make their own rules. A story that has inspired people for decades. Jonathan Livingston, Seagull. A story by Bach. For most seagulls, life consists simply of eating and surviving. Flying is just a means of finding food. However, Jonathan Livingston Seagull is no ordinary bird. For him, flying is life itself. Against the conventions of seagull society, he seeks to find a higher purpose and become the best at doing what he loves. This is a fable about the importance of making the most of our lives, even if our goals run contrary to the norms of our flock, tribe, or neighborhood. Through the metaphor of flying, Jonathan's story shows us that if we follow our dreams, we too can soar. Part 1. It was morning, and the new sun sparkled gold across the ripples of a gentle sea. A mile from shore, a fishing boat summed the water, and the world for breakfast flock flashed through the air till the crowd of 1,000 seagulls come to dodge a fight for bits of food. It was another busy day becoming, but way off alone, out by himself, beyond boat and shore, Jonathan Livingston Seagull was practicing. 100 feet in the sky, he lowered his webbed feet, lifted his back, and strained to hold a painful, hard twisting curve through his wings. The curve meant that he would fly slowly, and now he slowed until the wind was a whisper in his face, until the ocean stood still beneath him. He narrowed his eyes in fierce concentration. He held his breath, forced one single more inch of curve. Then his features ruffled. He stalled and fell. Seagulls, as he know, never falter, never stall. To stall in the air is for them disgrace and it's dishonor. But Jonathan Livingston Seagull, unashamed, stretching his wings again in that trembling, hard curve, slowing, and stalling once more, is not the way to make one's self popular with other birds. Even his parents were disowned. As Jonathan spent whole days alone, making hundreds of low-level glides, experimenting. He didn't know why, for instance, but when he flew at altitudes less than half his wingspan above the water, he could stay in the air longer with less effort. His glides ended not with the usual feet-down splash into the sea, but with a long, flat wake as he touched the surface with his feet tightly trembling against his body. When he began sliding into the feet-up landings on the beach, then passing the legs of his slide in the sand, his parents were very much dismayed indeed. "Why, John, why?" his mother asked. "Why is it so hard to be like the rest of the flock, John? Why can't you leave flying to the pelicans, the albatross? Why don't you eat, John, your bone and feathers?" "I don't mind being bone and feathers, Mom. I just want to know what I can do in the air and what I can't, that's all. I just want to know." "See here, Jonathan," said his father, not unkindly. "Winter isn't far away. Boats will be few and the surface fish will be swimming deep. If you must study, then study food and how to get it. This flying business is all very well, but you can't eat a slide, you know. Don't forget that the reason you fly is to eat." Jonathan nodded obediently. For the next few days he tried to behave like the other girls. He really tried, screeching and fighting with the flock around the piers and fishing boats, diving on scraps of fish and bread, but he couldn't make it work. It all so pointless, he thought, deliberately dropping a hard-won anchovy to a hungry old gull chasing him. I could be spending all this time learning to fly. There's so much to learn. It wasn't long before Jonathan Gull was off by himself again, far out at sea, hungry, happy, learning. The subject was speed, and in a week's practice he learned more about speed than the fastest gull alive. From 1,000 feet, flapping his wings as hard as he could, he pushed over into a blazing steep dive toward waves and learned why seagulls don't make blazing steep power dives. In just 6 seconds, he was moving 70 miles per hour, a speed at which one's wings sharpling spin to the right. He couldn't be careful enough on that upstroke. 10 times he tried, and all 10 times as he passed through severely 70 miles per hour, he burst into a churning mass of feathers out of control, crashing down into the water. The key, he thought at last, dripping wet, must be to hold the wings still at high speeds, to flap up to 50 and then hold the wings still. From 2,000 feet he tried again, rolling into his dive peak, straight down, wings full out, and stable from the moment he passed 50 miles per hour. It took tremendous strength, but it worked. In 10 seconds he had blurred through 90 miles per hour. Jonathan had set a world speed record for Seagulls, but victory was short-lived. The instant he began his pull-out, the instant he changed the angle of his wings, he snapped into the same terrible, uncontrolled disaster, and at 90 miles per hour it hit him like a dynamite. Jonathan Seagull exploded in mid-air and smashed down into a brick-hard sea. When he came to, it was well after dark, and he floated in moonlight on the surface of the ocean. His wings were wrapped bars of lead, but the weight of failure was even heavier on his back. He wished feebly that the weight could be just enough to drag him gently down to the bottom and end it all. As he sank down in the water, a strange hollow voice sounded within him. There's no way around it. I'm a seagull. I am limited by my nature. If I were meant to learn so much about flying, I'd have charts for brains. If I were meant to fly at speed, I'd have a falcon's short wings and live on mice instead of fish. My father was right. I must forget this foolishness. I must fly home to the flock and be content as I am, as a poor limited seagull. The voice faded, and Jonathan agreed. The place for a seagull at night is on shore, and from this moment forth he wanted he would be a normal cow. It would make everyone happier. He pushed